mambo na maendeleo, maisha na mifugo na maisha.
As per wildlife regulation, has to have a constitution, and through that constitution, a lot of duties and responsibility has been stipulated and is described. But again, through the regulation, we have so many bodies or the organ. One being Board of Trustee, and you have seen the chairman of the Board of Trustee here and the secretary. Of course, they know their responsibility again. And again, within the structure, you can see what we call it a Board of Advisory Board. Yeah, this one is a government arm, because the chairman of this board is a district commissioner, and that is a technical team which always advise the CBO. So that is how the governance in the WMA set up. And then how are we working? Of course, you have the tools, as I have said. The first tool in WMA is the Wildlife Conservation Act. That is the first tool, Wildlife Conservation Act. And the second one, the regulation. We call it Wildlife Management Areas Regulation. Those are the two. And another tool we have is what we call it Constitution of the CBO. And we have the GAP, or we call it the RZMP. Those are the tools we are using in managing the WMA. But again, we have what we call it a strategic plan. It is a 5 years plan. And again, that is another tool. We have the annual plan, annual budget, and all of that are the tools we are using in managing the WMA.
Ndio kuna kamati kwenye ndani ya AA panatokea kamati ndogo ndogo. Kamati hizo ni kama kamati ya mipango na fedha, kamati ya ulinzi, yani tunasemaga ulinzi, yani ulinzi na usalama, lakini sio ile ya kitaifa. Na kamati nyingine ni kamati kuu. Kamati zile ndani ya AA.
Do they meet to discuss issues? And then how do they disseminate that information to the various partners in that?
Mkutano upo na inawajumuisha wajumbe wote wa AA, inawajumuisha wenye viti wa vijiji, inawajumuisha watendaji wa vijiji, inawajumuisha waheshimiwa madiwani, inawajumuisha wadau wa uhifadhi ambao tunafanya nao kazi, inawajumuisha ofisi ya DC, ofisi ya mkurugenzi. Tunakutana hiyo ya mara mbili kwa mwaka, lakini hii ya AA yenyewe tunakutana mara 4 kwa mwaka.
As stipulated in the regulation that's enacted on the formation of wildlife management areas 2012, there are provisions in that regulations that provide guideline on the functions of the District Natural Resource Advisory Board to the wildlife management. So basically we provide the technical advice to AA, provide legal advice to the AA on undertaking maybe contractual issues if there is an investor who's interested in investing in the WMA. We provide that because we have a number of expertise who are the members of the District Natural Resource Advisors Board. And the meetings, we actually sit quarterly, so we have 4 meetings per year. Each quarter we have 1 meeting, unless there is an burning issue, we can have a urgent meeting. And the District Natural Resource Advisors Board is chaired by the District Commissioner, and the District Game Officer at that meeting is a secretary. And another members of the District Natural Resource Advisor Board, as in the regulation we have the District Commissioner, Chairman, the District Game Officer, the Secretary, the Head of Livestock Department, Community Development Officer, with the Law Department, or the Legal Officer of the District, the Beekeeping Officer, Natural Resource Officer, the District, we have the Land Officer, and the Chairman of the AA, the Manager, and also we invite the other members of conservation, especially the Tanzania Wildlife Management Authority and the Tanzania National Parks, who are invited to the meeting to provide technical expertise to the AA or the WMA. Thus far, I think I have a bit answered the interaction between the WMA and the Natural Resource Advisor Board.
Is there anyone who audits the authorized association?
According to regulation, our regulation, section 75, say the fund of the authorized association shall be annually audited by the auditor from the respective council, controller, and auditor general, or such other person registered as an auditor under the relevant law appointed for the purpose by the controller and the auditor general, or such terms and conditions as controller and auditor general may determine. Second, the Director General of Tanzania Wildlife Management Authority may appoint independent certified audit firm to audit the finances of authorized association. Third, the Director General of Tanzania Wildlife Management Authority shall, upon the receipt of the audit, the finance of the association, submit the respective board of trustees together with the recommendation for implementation of the recommendations there. So that is clear, as stipulated through this regulation. Are directed to annually audit all the WMA fund across the country, because all the money are the government money. The money are paid directly from the government to the AA. Yeah. And again, the General Director of Wildlife, General Director of Wildlife Authority, he may opt to audit the finances of the association. But again, the district council, especially, he may also be auditing the AA finances. So you can see those may, shall. The shall is the CAG. They must be.
The composition of the 5 members that are elected from each village. What's the composition? Now are they elected?
Wajumbe wa AA wanapatikana kutokana na taarifa inayopelekwa kijijini, lakini pia wanaanza na halmashauri, mkutano wa halmashauri ya kijiji wanapendekeza, lakini pia wanapitishwa au kukataliwa na mkutano mkuu wa kijiji. Alafu wako 5 kwa kila kijiji ndio wanakuja kuunda AA.
Voting of any body depend who appointed that body. In the case of our body, only the Board of Trustees of Randlem are appointed by the AA. So the Board of Trustees of Randlem reporting directly to the AA regarding to their function, their duties. The second body, which is an advisory board, it is a regulation, we call it, it is from the regulation, from the Ministry of Natural Resources and Tourism, according to the Wildlife Act. So that one exists as per wildlife law, and that is an arm of the government. And sometimes we say it advises, but in the other way, can regulate. I don't, you understand that properly. So that one can report anywhere, because it can say to you this, to the AA, it can say to the governments, I advise the Ministry of Natural Resources and Tourism, ABCD, toward this authorized association. So that is an eye of the governments.
There are sometimes delays by government to give percentages. Of course, once they don't give to the management committee there, what trickles to the communities will also not be there. In any event that this delay takes place, already communities have generated their projects. Don't you think there will be, the community, there will be a blame game by communities? These people, since they were given our money, seems government gave them the money, and they are not trickling it down. How do you ensure that really you have a balance between the community and the government, such that these organizations exist?
I will answer it very shortly, because first of all, the ones who collect the revenues, all revenues related to tourism outside the Ngorongoro Conservation Area and the Tanzania National Parks is Tanzania Wildlife Authority. So the money goes there, then to the National Treasury. The distribution of that money then will go back from the National Treasury to the Tanzania Wildlife Authority. Then the Tanzania Wildlife Authority will revisit on the performance of the WMA, the amount of visitors or tourists that have been there, then the percent of amount that we have to return back to the WMA. So the issue isn't in the district level. The issue is in the Tanzania Wildlife Authority and the National Treasury. That's where the issue lies. So it's not a matter that we can have a very straight answer on what is the constraint of making money.
They are not the ones who are collecting.
Mikutano, miradi hiyo inaibuliwa na wananchi wenyewe.
All the projects are initiated by the local community or the village assembly units.
Kwa hiyo inapoibuliwa hiyo miradi na wananchi, ndio tunajikuta sasa wakati mwingine wa kipindi kile ambacho hatukuwa na hii hifadhi, kwa tunachangishana michango kwa sisi wananchi wenyewe.
And before having the WMA, after the local community initiated the projects, they make contribution for themselves for implementation of those projects. But today, there's no that contribution. The money from the WMA goes to implement those projects.
Lakini pia serikali nayo huwaga inaweka mkono wake. Napotembelea miradi huko vijijini, nakuta mradi ulipo, serikali nayo ina support.
In addition, the government do contribute to those projects.
When you compare in terms of biodiversity conservation, now there is a big improvement compared before. There was a lot of encroachment, charcoal making in that area before WMA, but now there is a big improvement in biodiversity. I think you have been there and see what. And even if we compare in terms of poaching, there's a decrease in number of incidents of poaching. Now we are saying like 92% has been declining in terms of poaching, killing of wild animals, when we compare before and after. And then in human-wildlife conflict, in terms of crop raiding and even killing of livestock. As Chairman said, there is a living walls in those villages, and even crop protection unit. There are groups which have been formulated by the WMA and even our partners, Honey Guide Foundation, which is, they have been trained on how to protect their farms. And even there are some rangers who are very active on responding to the incidences. So we are saying, as a government, we are very proud of having WMA, and we are even very proud of introducing ourselves as a wildlife officers now. When compared before and after having WMA, before we were very afraid of saying I'm a wildlife officer. There is a good relationship between the Department of Wildlife and the community now, after having our WMA.
Correct.
Yes.
That made your work simpler.
Yeah, simpler, yeah, very simpler compared to.
I want to thank you very much, the technical people, the manager, and the government officials for the guidance you've given. The knowledge that we've learned from here is very, very critical. We are asking many questions because we have challenges that we want to address. And I want to believe we've learned from this, and we'll take it home and fine-tune, then use it, localize, as they say. And I like the relationship between the government, technical people, and the general communities. I'm sure they are guiding you technically, and I'm sure the communities are also providing input. And that this is a very good working relationship. And in our good Swahili, tunasema nti pole pole ndiyo mwendo. Thank you very much.
Bologna.